Hey, surprise. Uh, Video games for me really start with Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo, right? Because that's original. nobody, nobody else, nobody else started that way, right? Uh, but the thing about it was I come from a family of pretty nerdy people, and um, prior to Mario, video games were like this really mysterious kind of anomaly in life because I have memories of my dad playing Centipede specifically. I remember it was Centipede, and I think also Pac-Man. It might have been at a pizza place. It might have been something like that. Like on the machine, and just I couldn't really describe what I was seeing, but there's clearly nothing else like that in the world with the colors and him interacting with it, and I'm trying to reach up and reach the buttons and the controls up there, and they were always kind of elusive and mysterious. And then my dad gets a Nintendo Entertainment System for his birthday. uh, and then we sit down and we play it for a little bit, and that part is a little bit fuzzy, but once he had to go, I guess adult, I still sat there. And I continued to sit there, and I just sat there, just kind of playing and playing and playing, and um, like it's the first memory I have where time, I just time seemed to disappear. Like I lost track of time, like you saw, like suddenly looking up, and the sun had gone down, and we have all these wonderful YouTube videos that break down one world 1-1 of Super Mario Brothers, and shows you step by step like how it basically teaches you how to play video games, right? And how it's amazing and fantastic for that. And while that's true, I wasn't conscious of any of that back then. It was just like this elusive thing was finally in my hands. It was finally on my TV. It was finally right in front of me, and there wasn't much holding me back from it. Um, Outside disappeared, food disappeared, sleep kind of eventually catches up with you, and then every now and then you needed to realize I realized you needed to use the bathroom. I needed to use the bathroom, right? And I mean, I must have been like 4 years old, maybe, like 3 years old in this old house, and I cannot remember what I learned. I can't remember what logical connections I might have made. But it was just I kind of sat there, and I remember the feeling of the controller in my hands, and I remember the screen moving, right, and I remember making him run and jump. Mario was running and jumping, but it was barely even Mario to me at that point, right? I hadn't really developed a relationship with it as a character yet, and there was this ethereal space you're entering to at a very impressionable time at your life, right? And um, and it's making just this really solid, concrete memory, and then I remember like just playing, waking up the next day, and it was the first thing I wanted to do, and I was played till my eyes hurt because those like old televisions, like long before HD TVs, they weren't the best for staring at for long periods of time. I mean, no screen really is. But I got frozen bags of peas from the refrigerator and put it against my head, like the side of my head, to help me deal with the eye strain, so I could keep playing. And then I would lay my head on the floor and on top of the bag of peas, so I could still have it on the side of my head, and and still play. And I said I wasn't going to do a lot of analysis in this, but there's something to that, because it's just like, for a kid it makes sense. Like, it hasn't been that long since I learned how to walk, right? And now this is another place where I learn how to walk again. And it's so cool, so unique. It's just so interesting. And I didn't really think uh, I wanted more. I didn't really think if there was other games. I didn't. I don't remember really thinking about much of anything. Just um, like this just left a really deep impression, and it's kind of funny when you think about that. It's just it just becomes part of your life, right? And I think when I hear people say Super Mario doesn't have any character, he's a blank slate, or even something, or is a blank slate you're supposed to imprint yourself on, or something like that. It was just like, no, that particular moment, that particular experience, right? Like that that is Super Mario. That's Super Mario, And even as I describe it, I realize it's really hard to describe, but that's because sure games have text in them, but the engagement and interactivity that they have is something that no other medium really has, and that's like a new language. And I was a young mind, ripe for some new language. And in saying this, I understand now why when I first saw the trailer for Super Mario Galaxy 2, I started crying. I mean, I kind of understand now. But I mean, maybe I don't. Maybe I understand as best as I possibly can. But there was just something amazing there. Like I remember just wanting to see more of the game, wanting to see just what would be next, how things were shaped, and you don't have an idea or an expectation of what a video games. Excuse me. You don't have an idea or expectation of what a video game's gonna be at that point, right? You don't know how many levels there are gonna be. You don't have an idea if bad guys are gonna repeat. You don't know if the rules are gonna change or if they're not gonna change. You're just kind of pushing forward into like this mysterious cave of wonders, and you're hearing all these new and unique sounds before you even like really understand what music is, or maybe what a score is. The numbers are going up, and there's just so many little details there that you're beginning to understand for the first time, and you have this whole world to explore beyond the world that you're already exploring, and it's really relatable, and I realize now, like I always try to recapture that with what I make, with what I make when I make a game, right? Um, it's like that particular nebulous feeling of learning to walk again. There's something inside you that this is appealing to, uh, maybe on like a primal level, and just pushes you on. It's pretty freaking beautiful. So yeah, that's Super Mario Brothers to me. That's Super Mario Brothers. That's Super Mario Brothers. Um, pretty, pretty hard to beat that, right? But I think maybe some things actually did leave comparable impact. We'll see more as we move on and move forward.